mid to low $300,000 of revenue coming from just organic leads. Within the year 2025, we hit around $1 million in revenue for the company as a whole, and about 20% of that by the end of the year when we were doing our attribution was coming from organic traffic. If you're a business owner that needs to see a return this week, then SEO is probably not the best thing for you to put your money into, and just
Right.
being honest.
All right. So I'm joined here with Fadi, owner of Harwood Fence. I'll let you give a quick intro on yourself, the business that you run, how long you've been in business, and then we'll get started from there.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Stephen. My name is Fadi. I'm with Harwood Fence. We started the company probably 2.5 years ago now. Um, yeah.
Sweet, man. I know that you focus mainly on fence installation, but can you give
hmm
kind of a rundown of since you started, like you started in Virginia Beach and then opened up a few locations, and then what has the focus
Yeah.
been since then?
Yeah. So initially we started in Virginia with the hope of growing in that one location, but then we've got really good partners in different parts of the country where we've started to expand. And yeah, our focus has definitely been mostly on replacements and installation because they're mostly the big ticket items and keep our team busy and working. And as we've expanded into the different territories, we've been able to partner with the right team members to be able to deliver on smaller repairs and smaller fixes. But yeah, definitely our focus has been um, installation and replacement,
Right, right,
and of
and
both residential and commercial. So we've done both.
yeah. And we were just talking about this off air, I guess you could say. Uh, you started in early 2024, which is
Correct.
pretty substantial because a lot of businesses, especially in the home service space, they don't
hmm
start branching out and adding new locations until year 5, year 10.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was a pretty quick, pretty quick growth curve in that sense.
hmm hmm
Did you have when you
Yeah.
first
We
started? Did you have the goal in mind of like this is going to be a multi-location business?
it was definitely kicked around. My partner and I, Nathan, had talked about this because we were inspired by some other branch models,
Right.
fairly different than a franchise. So sometimes it's mistaken or mixed up. But we were fairly inspired by some other branch models that had been successful and scaled. So from the get-go, we were definitely implementing systems where the system was location agnostic, not necessarily operator agnostic, because the operator is still the most important piece of any branch. Um, but yeah, all the additional systems that build and go alongside the operator were location agnostic because we had the desire to scale across multiple areas.
Right. Right. And so you started the business in early 2024, sometime then, and
hmm
then
hmm
at what point did you bring in us to start working with SEO?
Yeah, so initially, I mean, as every business owner does or tries to at least, I made my own website on Wix, built this big clunky thing that I didn't realize was a big clunky thing until I started running it through some systems like SEMrush and Ahref, or however you say it. Um, Later, towards the end of that year, towards the end of 2024, uh, we met and started talking about what SEO could do for our site. But when I first, I mean, I knew a good bit about SEO, but not too much. Enough to know that was like a big company's game, not as much for a small business because we couldn't afford it, or we were looking at it. It's like, well, if I could spend a certain dollar amount on Google and find a traceable lead that came from
Right.
that Google ad, then I'll probably go do that over spend on SEO. But that was much more of a small picture mindset, not understanding the what at scale it would do for us if we had started at that time. And I'm glad we did. Looking back now, I'm,
Right.
I'm super glad we started when we did.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of feels like, especially when you are a smaller business, it's almost like a gamble. Or it feels like it could be a gamble of like, is this going to pay off or is this not going to pay off? Whereas with something like ads, you get direct feedback right when you start running them,
Mhm.
like LSA or PPC ads. You're getting traffic like right away, but with SEO, it's not as immediate, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like I know that if I spend $500 a month on SEO, I'm gonna
Sure.
get $10,000 in leads. Like it's not
Yeah.
as or in revenue. It's
Yeah.
not as easy to do that match back or correlation.
Yeah.
Um, but I know that a lead from Google LSA cost me around $60 or something. So I know
Yeah.
that what that's going to turn into.
Yeah. 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 And so what ultimately made you decide to go with SEO as a lead channel, especially being so early on?
Mostly your charming personality, Stephen. But
I
other than that,
know it definitely wasn't that.
um, I know that, I mean, I just understood what was needed to scale, and I was like, well, if we're really going to do this thing, then we should do it right and start building systems early on.
Sure.
So that was the hope and the intent when we chose to go for it.
Right.
And we started a bit smaller, and you guys were genuine and honest and telling us like, hey, this is what to expect. Make sure you're tracking things correctly. So it was definitely a partnership to where you guys were helping us understand like because you're growing in the amount of channels you're spending money on, make sure you're doing your attribution correctly. Otherwise, how are you going to know where to spend more and less?
Right. Right. Yeah, and I think even with SEO, it's never a linear, excuse me, a linear growth
Yeah,
where some
definitely
months
not.
are going to be less clicks than others and less traffic than other months. But when you look at it over a longer time horizon, then the trend line is going upwards, and same with the amount of leads as well. But you can only get that perspective from doing it over a longer period of time rather than
For sure.
2 or 3 months.
Which is so scary for a small business owner. I mean, if you're running your home service business or whatever it is in some smaller location, or even if you're in a bigger city, if you're in a small location, you're like, is there really enough people to justify this? If you're in a big city, you're thinking, am I really going to be able to compete with
Right.
so and so, whoever the big name in your town is? But it's so relevant. I mean, there's always people looking for someone else.
Right.
And I heard a quote at one point, 1% of your market is in the market at all times. So you just got to be able to hit and get in front of the right person and show them your
Sure.
value proposition. And SEO is a really useful tool for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as well, like along the way, learning as a client, learning about what SEO actually is and what it entails is helpful too, because now like you're also able to ask better questions about what we're doing and what we should be targeting and keywords and like
Hmm.
pages and traffic and all the metrics as well. Because when you're more informed as a client or a business owner, then you can give proper feedback and actually understand like what you're paying for.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like knowing the specific type of fence that's really popular in a certain area, you can't know that about every single
Sure.
location of every single client. No matter how much research you guys do, I mean, it's hard. So it's on us as the client too to give you guys the feedback to be able to build something that's going to work for everybody.
Right.
Um, so it's definitely a give and take. But I mean, Olu and you guys are very good at listening and helping out whenever we have any sort of feedback of like, stop doing this, do more of that.
Totally. Totally. So getting into some of the numbers then, which is I'm probably going to name this video something like this fence company generated $1 billion in revenue. No,
Perfect.
walk me through.
That's how big we
walk,
are.
yeah, walk me through. So we've been working together for almost a year and a half now. Walk me
Mhm.
through the growth in revenue as well as other marketing channels that you're using, and then specifically with SEO, how has that helped you grow from a numbers or revenue standpoint?
Sure. Yeah. So when we jumped in with you guys, we were still pretty small and insubstantial. We were in the five-figure range of revenue a month, probably like 30 to 40,000 a month, which is not that much in fencing. Like
Right.
average fence job is $5,000 to $6,000. So we were not doing very much. Um, but at that time, to be fair, we're starting multiple channels of marketing simultaneously. And at first, it was very much outweighed in terms of like your pay per click, the paid ads. were translating into more revenue. And then within the year 2025, we hit around $1 million in revenue as for the company as a whole, and about 20% of that by the end of the year when we were doing our attribution was coming from organic traffic. And organic traffic is not something that'll just come to your doorstep without some sort of effort on your site and your GMB page and all that. Um, so yeah, pretty substantial number considering you don't the quality of an organic lead versus the quality of a paid lead is also markedly different, which is something to keep note
Right.
of. Because if someone clicked on your lead on Facebook or whatever it may be, and then they're usually a little bit more difficult to convert into an appointment for us to be able to go out and meet them because it was done almost unintentionally because they're not on that platform looking for something. Google's a little bit different. But if someone's looking up fence contractor near me or whatever that term is, and you pop up for some reason, that's really helpful. And if yours says sponsored, sometimes that loses some credibility. So it's nice if you pop up without the little sponsored tag. That usually is a trust indicator for your clients, which is really cool. And that's what you guys have helped us do.
Right. Right. That's awesome. Yeah. Like an extra 20% in, especially the 2025 would have been the second year of doing business. So
Hmm. Hmm.
you've recently, it would have been past year two of the business. So that $1 million mark would have been hit in, I guess, mid 2025 or somewhere in the midst of
Yeah, yeah,
2025.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Near the end, near the
near
end.
the end. So then
Yeah.
to date, so like today as we're filming this video, and then since when we started, so about it would have been about a year and a half. How much would you say if you were to put it in like an absolute number compared to total revenue? How much would that have been from the SEO
How
approximately?
much revenue we've gotten from organic traffic?
Yeah, and then compared to the overall revenue.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's over 20% at this point. It's probably
Yeah,
close to a quarter of our revenue is coming from that.
yeah,
And we're probably sitting at around three around mid to low $300,000 of revenue
yeah,
coming from
yeah.
just organic leads.
Yeah, yeah. Which again is really substantial, and I love to hear that because of still how much room is left for growth, right?
Oh
Well,
yeah,
again,
no
only
doubt.
being two years into the business, there's still so much room to grow. I'm
Mhm.
curious, what goals do you have for the business now, moving forward, being in the place that you're in, having more locations now, and where do you see yourself going in year three, year four, year five?
Yeah. Something in terms of our marketing strategy, something I would love to go to is not paying for ads, which is sounds like a crazy goal for a home service business. But if you can generate enough revenue to keep your team sustained, then you can save 6 to 8% of your bottom line that's going to
Right.
marketing and just redirect it all into your organic. So you're technically still paying for it, but it's you're while doing SEO, you can tell really on our cost per lead on all the different platforms, it actually goes down because of that brand recognition, because people may have seen you before for some reason when looking for something else. And then they see you the second or third or fourth time on a paid ad, they click on it because they've gotten a few times that they've seen you beforehand. So
Yeah.
a big goal for us is to minimize ad spend long term over the coming years.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, One thing I've seen it do for businesses, talking about SEO versus ads, they both have a really important place in lead generation. But
Mhm.
SEO is going to add so much more enterprise value to the business. I was talking to a business owner the other day who he runs a security company, and he wants to hand the business down to his daughter when he ultimately retires, but they're not generating leads. They only get it from word of mouth. And having a business that you can hand over to someone and just say, hey, like we're already generating leads consistently through organic.
Hmm.
You just have to
Hmm.
like pay the SEO team or just like manage the website. Is so much more valuable than saying, okay, in order to get leads and keep the business running, you have to spend $20,000 a month on paid ads, right? It's
For sure.
it just adds that extra layer of value to the business for someone in the future potentially coming in to buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's super. I mean, that's definitely um in our minds as we think
Right.
about this stuff is what's scalable and what's actually you don't want it to be super dependent on Fadi sitting at the helm for it to
Sure.
run well. I mean, it
Yeah.
has to a little bit. I mean, I do
Yeah.
something, but
Yeah.
it can't just be solely reliant on one person's relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see yourself growing the business to a point where you guys are like in every state and major city in America?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That would be uh that would be interesting,
Yeah.
but I don't think I don't think we're gonna get to that size.
Yeah. It's
We
certainly
mostly focus the cool part about the way we've done this is it's mostly where our friends are. It's a very it's funny, I just said we don't want it to be dependent on relationships, but the all the different locations that we've worked in, like the people there we end up building relationships with because I feel like the most important thing you can do, or the best thing you can do for a city or a location, if you're trying to redeem a town or work in a town,
right.
is find someone who's very capable and empower them to uh, hire people, make more money, and give back to that local area, and just keep things within that local area. So empowering a local entrepreneur is one of the most fun parts of this, and that is fencing agnostic, but this is just a tool at this
Yeah.
time.
I'm curious, this is just out of my own curiosity. What are the traits that you look for in a person
Huh.
that tells you or gives you signals that this is a human capable of running a business and carrying the Harwood Fence name?
Yeah, man, what a good question. It's something I think about pretty often. Bias towards action, and then a balance of grit and grace, because we want them to be able to withstand a certain amount of difficulty. Because starting a business is hard. It's not predictable. Like I can't tell someone, hey, your first year you're gonna make this amount of money or
Right.
whatever. Like none of it is guaranteed. It's all based on a certain percentage of effort and a certain percentage of luck. Um, and then the grace part, you want them to be gracious with both themselves, the people they work with, the people that work for them, and just their neighbors in their town, wherever they exist. So yeah, those are probably the three biggest things. To I mean, you can definitely go into more detail, but
Right. Yeah.
bias towards action, grit, and grace.
Yeah. What does it mean bias towards action?
Um, you your default whenever you run into a problem is to do something about it, not
Mm,
just think about it for a long time, because time is uh you're in a race in a way. And as
yeah.
soon as you start a business, the amount of momentum you can build by your actions is very, very important, and it'll snowball eventually into
Yeah.
becoming something you're proud of. But you gotta like whenever you see something, because you're always going to be running into issues or problems. It's just life and business. You gotta default to doing something about it. You can't just sit back and expect someone else to solve it, or wait till you ask the right person, or like just do it. And then if it's a mistake, you'll learn way more than if you had
Yeah.
waited to ask Steven later or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just go for it.
Just do it. Yeah. Yeah. Like I guess another way to say that would be just high agency people who
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
can give them a task and they'll be able to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least try and not be
At least try.
paralyzed by I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. That's so cool. Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, especially as you're growing and hiring on more people, you look for those traits a lot more and you can kind of tell
Hmm.
in an interview process, or at least when you just meet someone for the first time, what they're going to be like
Hmm.
inside of the business, or if you were to hire them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think that, this is not directly related to SEO, obviously, but those kinds of conversations and strategies and tactics around growing the business, they are directly affected by SEO because the better you can manage a team, manage sales, manage leads, the more you will make in return from investing in not just SEO, but any channel. Um, I'll leave you
100%.
with one final question. If, or what kind of business, what kind of business owner would you recommend to come and work with us that you think would see the best results with a team like us?
One, willing to trust the process. If if you're a business owner that needs to see a return this week on your dollars going into your marketing budget, then SEO is probably not the best thing for you to put your money into, and just
Right.
being honest. But if you're someone who's looking at 6 months down the road, 3 months down the road even, and thinking, you know what? I'm tired of every time I Google my trade that I've worked so hard on, that these four other guys that I don't even know who they are, they keep popping up ahead of me. If that's you, or if you're a company that's trying to scale and truly grow and um, have some fuel behind you, then you're definitely the right person.
Love it. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I totally agree. Well, hey, I'll let you go. I know you're a busy guy, but appreciate your time. And it's been a really
Yeah.
good combo. I think we should start a podcast or something, at least from, from this.
Yeah. Talk about all sorts of stuff, not
Yeah.
not marketing or fence related. That'd be fun.
Yeah. I'd enjoy that. Well, I'll do some workshopping on that and then I'll let you know. But anyways,
Please,
man,
please.
appreciate your time. Yeah, we'll catch you later.
Sounds good. Thanks, Steven.
Thanks.